Recording in progress.
Welcome back, folks. This is our restorative mobility class. This is week number 2. Let me lower the camera a little bit. If you weren't here in my last class, I was just reflecting a little bit on my leg injury. But yeah, I think I'm looking forward to this class, to say the least. So I'm gonna go ahead, take my shoes off. Just taking the shoes off without undoing the laces was a challenge. For my right foot, I lost some flexibility on my ankle. But yeah, today's goal for this session is just to stretch from the chair, get through some of like the major stretches from the chair. I may skip through some of the stretches that are like minimal movement or just kind of, you don't get too much bang for your buck. I might remove some of those, and then we'll go standing stretches. And then on Wednesday's class, we'll spend maybe the second half of that class doing mainly floor stretches. So we'll do more floor stretches on Wednesday. We'll do maybe a little bit today, okay? So any questions that you may have, let me know. Reminder, recordings are always posted on the front page. And yeah, if you're here, appreciate you. You won't be getting dropped from the class. Your attendance is always counted for if you log in through Canvas. But other than that, let's just go ahead and stretch, okay? So, all right, let's start with a couple of facial stretches, not all of them, but just the main ones. So let's open our mouth as wide as we can, tilt our head up, and then close your mouth, so pulling your chin towards your nose, feeling that big stretch on your neck, okay? Let's go ahead and begin that. So about 2 more. And last one. Very good. All right, let's puff up our cheeks with air. I'm gonna take my socks off to just get a little bit of a breeze. So just puff up your cheeks with air and move that air bubble left to right. Now up and down. Very good, and release. Okay, very good. All right, let's just gentle palpation from our earlobes down our jawline towards our chin. And then just a reminder, I do have the modules up. Module 1 I'll leave up until Wednesday. Maybe on Wednesday we'll review a little bit of it, or just go over what it has to offer. But plenty of information there. So feel free to take a look, check the information out.
Julio, I wasn't here last week. When did you get hurt?
So last week we only met on Monday, and I got hurt on Wednesday afternoon. Let's look left to right. So I'll bore the ones that heard the story again. But pretty much, long story short, I did a long run on Wednesday. I did a 16-mile run Wednesday. Finished it feeling proud and tired and exhausted, but proud and happy. And then I neglected my body by not giving it nutrients or water right after. I just kind of went about my day like if I didn't run 16 miles up and down, and I didn't hydrate very well, I didn't eat very well. I had an afternoon class I had to teach that evening or that afternoon. Completed that. Didn't feel too bad, but then I went to go play beach volleyball with my teenagers, and of course I had to remind them that I'm still pretty active and and physically able to play volleyball. And let's do our neck circles. So we played on Monday, and you know, it was fun. No issues. And then on Wednesday we played again, and within 5 minutes I got a cramp on my calf, and I didn't think much about it. I just stretched a little bit, and I continued playing, and about 10 minutes later I felt a more dramatic cramp, and then I felt like a snap right after that. And then yeah, I just decided, okay, let's switch. It's time to stop playing. I limped my way to the bench, and I decided, okay, I'm just gonna go home and look for some crutches on OfferUp. So that was the goal, to look for some crutches, just so I could get around. And let's go ahead and sit on our left hand. I'm gonna back up a little bit. Sit on our left hand, bring that right hand over. And yeah, so I told my wife what happened, and she was like, hey, dummy, we have health insurance. Go to the hospital. Make sure that you're good. You know, our premium's not the cheapest, so let's go ahead and make it worthwhile. So that's what I did. So I went to the Mammoth Hospital, and I just to go check that the cramps didn't concern me too much, because I felt those before, and usually my legs feel better within like 2 days. But it was the snap that I felt that freaked me out. So yeah, so I got tested to see if I had a rupture on it. No rupture, luckily, but I did strain it pretty bad, the gastrocnemius on the medial side. So it doesn't hurt on the outside of my legs. So yeah, that's what happened. So I've been kind of just wobbling ever since Wednesday of last week. So, yep. Got reminded that I'm no longer 18 years old. So let's bring both our hands behind our head and elbows down. Very good. All right, we're gonna start working on our shoulder and upper back and neck. So let's do snow angels. So yeah, you know, I'm feeling better. Like I was mentioning earlier, day by day is getting better. But I don't know. At the same time, I'm bummed that I'm not doing the race. I'm pretty certain I don't want to do it. I mean, I want to do it, but I know I shouldn't be doing it. I know if I step on that start line and the gun goes off and I go, I'll push my body to its limits, and my limits might get me to the finish line, or it might get me 5 miles into the race and then I drop out, and now I'm upset. I'm really upset and probably hurt, and then I also lose out on a $200 registration fee. So I'm just almost like, I think I'm almost setting myself up for failure for going through with it. So I think I'm gonna opt out of the competition. Let's bring that right arm across. Now my buddy who I've been training with, I believe he's 66 years old. He's pretty confident that I could do the race. And I'm like, you should be the one telling me not to do the race. Like, he's had some cardiac, concerns and some knee injuries, and he's not doing the race. But I think he wants me to experience the ultra marathon distance because training was going so well. But let's switch. But I'm just like, I don't know.
You don't want to experience the ER though.
I don't know, and that's the thing. It's already a big. If I don't go, to be honest, my schedule would be a little bit more relaxed. Like I was already stressing about my schedule for making this trip, because the plan was to leave on a Thursday and come back on Tuesday, and let's bring our right hand back. But not just that, like, yeah, let's say things do take for a worse, just things get worse, and now I'm gonna be limping home, and feeling crappier. So, and yeah, I'm fortunate that my old college teammate, he's the race director for this competition. So he told me that he could just let him know that I'm canceling the race. Let's switch, and he'll move my registration for next year's event. So it gives me a little bit more time too, and yeah, I'm happy about that. So there's a part of me that was still like, even if this injury didn't happen, I'm like, I don't like where this training, I'm one to like follow a training program or a plan and follow through with it. And I feel like with this race or this summer, I've been running, I'm happy with the amount of training I've been doing, but there's really no structure to it. So it almost seems like I'm just still winging it, and I'm not a fan of that. So I want to commit to something a little bit with, a little bit, some programming in there. Let's go ahead and get our hands together like this. Arms forward, look down, and punch forward. And come back. Again, look down, punch forward. Back, down, punch forward. Repeat. 3 more. Relax. Okay. Whew. Alrighty. Oh, our cat scratching pose. So let's sit close to the front edge of the chair. Okay, we're here. Separate your feet. We're gonna reach up towards the ceiling. Keep that back straight and come through. Just repeat. Two more. And last one. Very good. Alright, we're here. We're gonna bring our elbows up and just separate them as far back as you can. Very good. Oh. All right, we're gonna do shoulder circles, okay? So arms down, and shoulders come up, forward, down, and back. Yeah, but a lot of the my athletes over the last couple of days since we came back from camp, they've been posting on their social media just slideshows and pictures from our trip up to Mammoth, and it was very nice to see a lot of them reflect and post, and just to share some words of how awesome this trip was for them, and how some of them have never experienced being out in the wilderness like that, and they can't wait to go back next year. And some of my sophomores are bummed that they won't be coming back, but those were the ones that I was encouraging to, let's reverse, I was like, yeah. I was like, that's the one thing. Once you are no longer part of a group, especially one that, not that there's a lot of groups out there that for fun, especially in the younger population. Most of them want to go to the beach and go party and have something fun like that, but a lot of them choose not to go out into the wilderness or go hiking and exploring. So I told them, I was like, hey, if you guys enjoyed this and you won't be back next year, like, this takes a little bit of planning and some effort, but this place, there's a lot more of this wilderness and outdoors than you think. It's not just in Mammoth. You could go to Big Bear, you could go to Catalina, you could go anywhere, Santa Barbara. There's so many places. San Diego has mountains. So some of them were excited for that, but you could tell that some of them were also a bit bummed out because they seem like they won't commit to planning stuff like that. So we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. Let's go ahead and grab a hold of the chair with your left hand, and your right hand grabs the backrest. So rotate a little bit more. Now right hand grabs the chair rest, the seat. Left hand grabs the backrest and rotate. Legs are pointing forward. Very good. Alright, I'm going to do a little bit of elbow work, so just recline back, and just elbows at your side, and tap your opposite shoulder. Yeah, so Jan and Carmen, I know you're in my afternoon class, so your call. Today's class, if you remember, it's joint health and balance, so stretching and balance. So listen to your body. If you're okay, you got plenty of stretches from today. Don't feel obligated to go this afternoon, but there is a balance component to it in case you want some of that. Jan's already, no, I'm okay. So flip your hands and then up and down. Yeah, I got over the last few days, enrollment at Irvine has increased. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see that. So hopefully that momentum keeps going. And last year, or in the summer, I had 2 classes. They each had 14 and 15. And then this semester, or this term, I have 4 classes, and they're all between 21 and 24. So it's improvement. Okay, we're gonna go ahead, right elbow up, and then drop that forearm, and then up. Are you back home, Terry, or are you in 140 degrees New Mexico right now?
No, I'm in Camarillo, but
Oh, okay.
it's been getting up close to 90 here in the
Oh.
afternoon, which for us is
Yeah.
hot.
We have our first competition this Friday in Ventura College. So we should be over around 12:30 for lunch at your place. So there'll be about 25 of us with 20 hungry teenagers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, after they clean out my garage and take everything to the thrift shop, then we'll talk about
There you
lunch.
go. You start talking. Let's go ahead and work on our forearm. So allow your wrist to slide past your knee. Okay, and push down. Try to have that hand push up. And repeat. We'll do about 8 of those. Yeah, our first race is this Friday in Ventura College. The kids are happy because I think the park was at, is it Arroyo Grande or Arroyo something? But it's not there this year. It's gonna be around their campus. All right, switch hands. So stack your right hand over and push down. So the course shouldn't be as challenging. It should be a little bit quicker. So we'll see how it goes. 10:30 a.m., which is how warm is it right now, Terry, out there? It's like 80 something maybe.
It's close to 80.
Okay. Yeah, the ladies
But
race at 10.
they should be able to have a nice breeze up there.
Yeah, they're a little closer to the coast.
Yeah, we usually have a decent breeze.
So straight finger, each finger individually to the center of your hand. All right, good to know. I'll let them know. Yeah, next weekend we're in Fresno. That should be a little warmer. So. Keep it going. Alright, now let's do each finger curl. Alright, and now let's separate each finger away from each other, okay? So close your, kind of just close the gaps between your fingers and spread them out as you can. And close, open. Alright, let's switch. Okay, so now each finger straight on that left hand to the center of your hand. Alright, now curl each finger into the center of your hand. Alright, now make a fist and open, separate your fingers as wide as you can. Repeat. Let's do 3 more. And last one. Alright. And go ahead and start moving down to our performance stretch. So right ankle on that left leg, left knee. gentle push down. My ankles got really swollen from the injury. I noticed the last 2 days my ankles were very kind of muffin topping over my socks. So I guess that's a good sign for the swelling to heal. So yeah, one of the first tests the doctors did was gripping my foot and the arches and looking for compartment syndrome in case it was something more severe. So there's a little space in your lower leg, and if that gets inflamed or irritated, it could have this huge nerve issue. So glad I didn't have that. Bring that knee up. What so I went in there and I was curious. It's Mammoth. It's very active, outdoorsy town. So I asked the nurses there. I'm like, hey, so what's prevalent here? What kind of injuries or what kind of patients do you folks get here? And one of them, she said, well, I actually work here and at the hospital in Bishop. And she said that in Bishop, it's mainly your typical diabetes, high blood pressure, people that just have these more of like just stuff that develops with age and then just poor health sometimes. And then she's like, but here in Mammoth, it's people that fall off their mountain bikes, people that are accidents on skiing or rock climbing. So I'm like, oh, like how much? She's like, oh, it's night and day. Like here, it was in Mammoth, it's all outdoors accidents, just accidents. And then back in Bishop, it was just actual illnesses and stuff that people are taking care of. Slight push down. So they took me in pretty quickly. There wasn't much of a wait, and she's like, yeah, summer's a little slower, but those mountain bikers sometimes they get brave and they go for a jump and then they end up at the hospital. So yeah, it was kind of, I never thought about that, but yeah, that's a reality. Let's bring that knee up. And I kind of felt when I mentioned that I was gonna participate in the trail race, they helped me out a little bit quicker. Like I think like there was some praise that came with mentioning that, so they assisted me a little bit quicker. But it was cool. They were all curious and asking me what my training was like and what I was doing. Let's recline back. So sit towards the front, recline back, bring that right thigh close to your chest and extend that lower leg. Let's switch. Very good. We're gonna do our kicks and just cycle through and come back. We'll do 8 on each leg. Now let's switch. Very good. Alright, here let's go ahead and do some toe raises. So just raise your toes up. This is one of those For my specific injury, if someone had this, I would prescribe this exercise. And I'd be a little bit, mindful of the heel raises. I would try these first before doing the heel raises. Heel raises is gonna activate that gastrocnemius a little bit more. So if it's really tight, it might not be the best thing right now, but let's do some heel raises for about 15 to 20 of those. So I'm gonna do very light. I think as long as I do them slowly, and you could do these standing too. So yeah, Jan, that works. You could do standing calf raises. You're gonna put a little bit more weight on those limbs. Well, this is uplifting a little bit right here. Couldn't do these the last few days. Alright, and last one is just our ABCs. So, Jen, if you want to do those standing, you could work on your balance too. If you do these standing, or if anyone wants to, you could do these standing and you add a balance component to it. So, yeah, this morning my runners were, first thing they were complaining about was how warm it was already at 7:30 here. They went out for their run and they're like, Coach, it's already as hot here as it was in Mammoth at 2 p.m. I'm like, yep, we're back home. And switch. Alright, very good. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and get on our feet. We're going to do our standing stretches, but we'll start with our shoulders. So if you want to go ahead and find your pole, your foam roller, we'll go ahead and do those first. Alright. Let me raise this camera a little bit. Okay, so we're here on left to right. Let's go left to right. Focus on that left shoulder, pushing with the right hand, guiding with the left shoulder. .30 degrees forward, so slightly forward. .60 degrees forward. Alright, straight forward, straight ahead, 90 degrees. Towards the back. Right side, so right shoulder now. .30 degrees forward. .60. .90, right in front of you. towards the back. All right, let's go behind the back, up and down. It's lift, so lift up, 1. All right, and then last one here, up and down. All right, we can put this foam roller away. A few stand-up stretches, and then we'll be on our way. So, okay, let's go ahead and do a little bit of shoulder lymphatic flushing. So just place your hands on your shoulders and do some circles here. This garage is starting to get warm. Notice in the last 10 minutes, my shirt started sticking to me a little bit more. Now reverse. Big circles. Now in and out. Very good. All right, let's go ahead and do lymphatic flushing here by our knees. So feet together and just do circles with your knees. So again, just like we do with our hips, but now we're doing that with our knees. If it gets hot enough, I think I may have to do my 2 p.m. class in our living room inside the house. Switch directions. Very good. Also, I think for the Wednesday class, since we just won't do completely stretching, I think for our Wednesday class, I'll try to add a little bit of balance stretches in there as well, okay? So let's just do our big hula hoops and we'll finish off after this. So wide stance and just big exaggerated hip circles. So just so you're aware, on Wednesday, we will start off with maybe some sitting down stretches, some standing balance exercises, and then we'll cap it off with the floor stretches and maybe some floor balance stuff on Wednesday. So switch. All right, folks. Well, you folks have a lovely Monday. Stay cool, drink water. If you're thirsty and you just want to drink water then, it might be a little bit too late, so make sure you're drinking water before that thirst even hits you, okay? So, any questions before we head out?
No question, Julio.
All right.